Whoa, what is up, everybody? This is Alex from IHE TV. And I'm talking about the Unbreakable Boy, an attempt to make lots of money from a Christian film studio that released other things. I was just doing some research, like I Can Only Imagine, which this made loads of money, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, heaps and heaps. So they were trying to make one of these kind of saccharine, feel-good family dramas that have a bit of drama in there, but it never gets too real, too serious. And was supposedly based on a true story. The whole end credits are dedicated to showing off the real people in the family. But the reason it's called The Unbreakable Boy is that this little boy, who's the main character / narrator, has a few conditions that make his life difficult. He's medicated for OCD, he has autism, and he has a condition that makes his bones extremely brittle, so he can't play like the other kids. And it's all very sympathetic and designed to pull on your heartstrings. Well, not designed, if he was a real person. The film is just designed to pull on your heartstrings. Off the bat, they win my heart with random references. You know how much I love references. Before he's even 13, it's in the first act of the movie. He's talking about Fight Club. Yeah, that was probably the weirdest reference, because the way it's woven into the plot is that Zachary Levi, who is his dad, is an alcoholic who has an imaginary friend, hence the Fight Club thing. But this imaginary friend is a recurring character who is in nearly every scene with him, and it's not like a cinematic way of exploring someone's inner monologue just kind of as an excuse to have a character in a scene where they're alone to talk to themselves. Multiple other characters acknowledge the fact that he's basically talking to himself, and they'll show that he's moving like a big mattress, imagining that his friend is holding the other end of the mattress, but then we see that it's just him dragging it by himself. And it's kind of played for laughs, all the way up to the end, where there's a moment where, and I kind of would have loved this if they leaned into it, but Zachary Levi looks to his imaginary friend and is like, wait a minute, I can't believe I haven't asked you this. Are you God? And then they start going there, but then it's like, no, of course I'm not God, idiot. So the kind of Christian elements are about what you'd expect. There's a awkward scene with a preacher, this dude, where at the start of the movie, Zachary Levi, he's not a very religious man. He doesn't really want to go to church. He doesn't dig it. But he meets his preacher at AA when the whole alcoholic storyline comes to a head and realize, man, God works in mysterious ways, huh? Insanely sentimental and saccharine, and just, takes a very simplistic approach to things like addiction, where he goes to AA and most of it's kind of just solved by, oh, we turned to God and God solved all our problems. Super corny music every 5 minutes. What makes a house a home? A few kind of funny scenes though. It almost falls into a music kind of problem where they're trying their best to make out the problems that this child has to go through makes them special in a way no one else is, and the way they visualize that is by having corny scenes of them like flying around in their imagination as a superhero with their dad, and there are cartoon dragons flying around. And it's so desperate to be cute and family friendly that it mostly just comes across as cloying and insincere. Down to an amazing, one of the funniest scenes is with the Unbreakable Boy's brother, who doesn't have any of the same conditions as him, has this B-plot with a bully, where he says to the bully, "You're a cliche," and then winds up giving him his skateboard, like a good little Christian, and then they become best friends. Weird inclusion of Gears of War in this, and epic gaming. In the very end of the film, they kind of reveal that his mum in real life was, I guess, an epic gamer, and that was crucial to this story for some reason. How did they phrase it? I think I noted it down, because it's going through like each character and where they are now in real life. It said his mum became an epic gamer, whatever that means. It has no momentum as a story. They kind of establish this hook towards the beginning where they show a very drunk Zachary Levi driving his kids home, but then it rewinds back in time to when the kid was really young, or even before he was born, to show that even though these two people that barely knew each other and frankly weren't particularly compatible, made it work in the end despite their ups and downs. Super boring, way too long. There was a funny piece of trivia I noticed. Yeah, originally set for theatrical release on March 18th, 2022. So that's 3 years they've been holding it. The film was pulled from distribution days before its release with no explanation or announcement of a new date until January 2024. When it was finally given its new release date, director John Gunn, no relation to that gun, if you're wondering, I don't think, later admitted that the film's delay was because he wanted to save the movie for release until the political divide within the United States had subsided, with Lionsgate supporting the decision. I don't know what the source is on this, but if that's true, that's a really funny thing to say, because as we all know, everything has calmed down in the United States of America since March of 2022. Just a really weird film. I was kind of hoping for it to be funnier, like the utter failure of a music, or something that leverages people's illnesses to get sympathy points. Corny, saccharine, don't be like me and watch this. It probably doesn't deserve support. Plenty of other good movies out there. I gave this a 1 star on Letterboxd. Absolute trash. Nice one, Zach.